All right, thank you, Dave. Alongside Dwayne Ford, Rod Black with you, and hello, Canada, on a picture-perfect prairie day. As usual in Regina, it's a green day, and it is sizzling today.
That sure is fantastic weather for a football game, partner, and I know one guy who's looking forward to getting it going. Dylan Barker, as the boys on the panel mentioned, the Moose Jaw native, makes his first start of 2010 here against his former hometown team. His head coach, Marcel Belfait, looks at this as a great opportunity to get things turned around, welcomes the challenge of playing the West Division leading Saskatchewan Roughriders, facing one of his former players.
Appreciate Rodriguez, a former candidate for Rookie of the Year the last 2 seasons with the Cats. Nagging knee injury last year, but he's come around under Ken Miller and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He loves it here.
Oh, he sure does. Ken Miller has done a tremendous job during his 3 seasons as head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It just seems like whatever adversity these guys face, they manage to shake it off and keep rolling. Today, looking to bounce back from that loss in Calgary a week ago.
Eddie Johnson will kick this off. Back to receive, a guy who's fast becoming a household name in the Hammer. And across the Canadian Football League, Marcus Thigpen has 4 touchdowns already. In the first 2 games of the season, he had 3 returns for a touchdown. Listen to this madhouse. And away we go. And it is Marcus Thigpen. Dodges one and bursting outside, brings it to the 36-yard line. And a guy who began his CFL career right here in Regina, Kevin Glenn, will run the ship of the Hamilton Tiger Cats again.
Well, and Kevin Glenn has a couple of changes around him within that Tiger Cat offensive lineup this week, including with the release of receiver Dryson James. Chris Bauman, the former U of R star, should get an opportunity to get a few more touches. And on the offensive line, former Rough Rider Belton Johnson takes over at right tackle.
Throwing right away and looking for Arland Bruce. But that was a misfire by Kevin Glenn. Our starting lineups, by the way, are brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right.
That defensive line anchored in the middle by the Canadian nose tackle Keith Sholigan, continuing to do an outstanding job. And James Patrick, the quarterback on the back end for the Rough Riders, had a big week with 2 interceptions against the Stampeders.
Second down, another throwing down, penalty flags fly just as it was snapped back to Kevin Glenn. Kim Murphy is our head referee today.
Procedure, Hamilton number 65. 5-yard penalty, remaining second down.
That's Simeon Rotier, who will move from tackle to guard this week. George Hudson will back up Rotier, and Belton Johnson along that line will play at right tackle. Johnson has been in Saskatchewan the last couple of seasons, so a bit of a homecoming for him. Second and long. To the wide side. And Marcus Thigpen will lunge forward, but will just get over the original line of scrimmage, so the Tiger Cats will now have to kick this ball away.
A lot of talk coming into this game, Rod, that the Tiger Cats might look to run the football against a slightly undersized Saskatchewan defense, but coming out slinging on their first possession.
And a Saskatchewan defense that has been maligned a bit. They've given away a lot of points, a lot of yards. Dominic Dorsey is back. Dorsey contained right there, and also the Rough Riders will begin where the Hamilton Tiger Cats also began in their part of the field, near their 35-yard line.
Saskatchewan offense led as usual by Darian Durant, quickly becoming one of the top quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. Some might contend he's the man right now, and no shortage of weapons surrounding Darian Durant in that offense, including the aforementioned Appreciate Rodriguez, the 2008 East Division Rookie of the Year as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. As for the boys up front, a former Cat up there as well, and right tackle Dan Goodspeed, an East Division All-Star in Hamilton a year ago.
Lots of motion as always. Durant, quick back step, and Andy Fantuz with the first catch of the ball game from Darian Durant. And there is an injured Cat at the far side of the field. That's Markeith Knowlton who's down.
Andy Fantuz is working underneath in this situation. He comes from the wide side of the field and just runs a drag route all the way across the field. A little bit of traffic in the middle, as we're accustomed to seeing here in the Canadian Football League. Frees him up, allows him to pick up those yards.
Here's the Hamilton front seven. It's come a long way in the last couple of seasons, particularly with those linebackers.
Yeah, the linebackers do a tremendous job in Johnson, Floyd, and Knowlton. In the secondary, a lot of changes over the course of this year. You've got 5 guys starting in new spots at the very least, including, as we said, Dylan Barker making his first start of the new year.
Darian Durant will towel off. You'll see a lot of this today, and a lot of the players hydrating on the sideline. Again, we talked about the heat here today. Here are the numbers before week 5. Darian Durant leading the CFL in yardage. 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 3 of those picks came a week ago. A very disheartening loss for a team that was rolling with 3 straight wins against the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, it certainly was, but the Roughriders say to a man that they feel they bounced back, had a particularly good week of practice, and hope that translates into performance on game day.
Markeith Knowlton. Boy, what a critical loss that would be if they lose him for any stretch of time. Knowlton, part of those linebackers, former BC Lions. Jamal Johnson, Otis Floyd, and Knowlton, who have become such a force, maybe the best linebacking core in the Canadian Football League. So that means that Shannon James, good pickup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, will now come in place of Knowlton.
Well, it looks somewhat prophetic for the Tiger Cats to have picked up Shannon James a couple of weeks ago, a guy who played the cover linebacker position very well for the Calgary Stampeders a couple years ago.
Was the most outstanding defensive player for the Stamps for 2 straight seasons. Of course, won a Grey Cup there as well. Durant. Once again, another catch made, and it looks like a first down. Chris Getzlaff, part of that Canadian Air Force. Getzlaff, Rob Bagg, Andy Fantuz. You could also include Jason Claremont.
Getzlaff, another of the former Ticats in this Saskatchewan lineup. The guy who at the time was thought to be a little bit of a throw-in in the trade in which the principals going either way were Jason Armstead and Corey Holmes. As we look at it now, Getzlaff, the only one still playing in the CFL.
Double tight end package. Claremont in the game with the shovel toss to West Pace. Rumbles close to another first down near the midfield stripe.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders look to create a little bit of confusion with the motion through the backfield on this play. Generate some misdirection for the Tiger Cat defensive line. Weston Dressler comes underneath. That holds the end to the outside. Creates that lane for the shovel to West Cates.
Second down, short yardage. In the eye, and Chris Zarka, the veteran bulldozer, with bodies on his back, gains a couple of yards into Hamilton territory, will move the sticks again.
Well, Chris Zarka's just doing what he's been doing seemingly forever now in his 14th season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Former finalist for the league's most outstanding Canadian award.
Once again, now the hitch pass this time. And Andy Fantuz takes it to the 49-yard line, where he was quickly met by a number of Tiger Cats. Let's go down to the sideline now, and joining us today is Lee Jones. Lee.
Thanks, guys. Knowlton right now on the bench. He's not going to go in for now, but they think he'll likely return to the lineup. Just suffered a burner. The old-fashioned put ice in the hat, put it on him, and just hope things work out, so to speak. Not going to go in this series, but they're hoping he might be in the next possession for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Guys?
All right, thank you, Lee. Second down, 6 yards. Deep draw. Durant. And over the head of Appreciate Rodriguez. First look at Rodriguez for the Roughriders today. Such an important part of the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense the last couple of seasons, but last year saw his numbers decline at a bit of a nagging knee injury.
We'll keep an eye on Wes Cates on this play. The running back for Saskatchewan has a free release working against linebacker Ike Brown on the play. Had Brown completely fooled at the line of scrimmage and ran right by him. Unfortunately, Darian Durant didn't see him because it could have been a home run shot for the Riders.
Andy Johnson punting for the second straight game, and this is a booming kick. High floater, and Marcus Thigpen will wisely let that bounce into the end zone, and he will give up the single point. Big kick. The first point of the ball game. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, doing it right. Last day of July, Ticats Roughriders. Saskatchewan leads 1-0 on the single by Eddie Johnson. Kicking it out off the edge is DeAndre Cobb. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats want to take a few more steps forward this season. A disappointing 1-3 start. They have to get DeAndre Cobb involved.
Absolutely. Cobb had over 1,200 yards rushing last season. This year struggling, averaging just 3.5 yards a carry thus far. He's a guy who needs to get the ball in his hands a little bit more often. One thing that'll help in that regard certainly is if the Ticats spent more time playing from ahead.
2nd and 2. Cobb again behind blocking, and will depend on the spot here, but it looks like he may have attained the first down. Brent Hawkins in on the tackle. Hawkins, one of the new twin pillars on the defensive line after losing Stevie Baggs and John Chick, and a lot of people thought that those losses would be devastating to the Roughriders, but it's been a pretty good start for the men in green.
Well, it certainly has. Brent Hawkins, former Carolina Panther, and Canadian Luke Mullender, former star at Michigan State University, take over from John Chick and Stevie Baggs. Chick now with the Indianapolis Colts, Stevie Baggs in camp with the Arizona Cardinals.
1st and 10. Play action, and knocked out of bounds just in front of the first down marker is Maurice Mann, who has been involved a little bit more in the last couple of weeks. Maurice Mann coming from the Edmonton Eskimos in the offseason, the trade for Chris Thompson.
And they look for big things from Maurice Mann, who here uses his motion to get up to full speed as he hits that line of scrimmage, starting deep in the backfield. Nice call from offensive coordinator Mike Gibson to go play action after establishing the run on the previous couple plays of the series.
Again, 2nd and 2. Glenn throws out of the backfield, is caught this time, and quickly brought down by Sean Lucas. And looks like it's going to set up a 3rd and short situation. First down marker extends into Saskatchewan territory, into the 54-yard line. So Quinton Porter is coming into the ball game for the 3rd down plunge, and it looks like they may be about a half yard, almost to a full yard shy.
But nonetheless, given the field position, it's one of those gambles that we typically see Canadian Football League teams take.
So about that much for 3rd down. Quinton Porter, who a year ago at this time came into Regina as the starting quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And then because of that game, Cats were down early, 23-0. It was a miserable day of weather here and rain. Kevin Glenn came in relief, had some success, and after that game, it was Kevin Glenn's team.
It certainly was. Glenn hasn't looked back since. The Hamilton Tiger Cats certainly not writing off the youngster Quentin Porter. Still believe he's got a bright future with their team.
Well, here comes that volume. That Mosaic, third down. Porter straight ahead. And his forward progress looked like he indeed got that first down. Sometimes you think that Quentin Porter, all he has to do is just fall forward. He's 6'4" quarterback.
Well, it's not always easy in these short yardage situations for a bigger quarterback. You know, he ends up kind of upright. You've always got defenders trying to come over the top as both sets of linemen end up basically burying their helmets. But Porter managed to get himself down low enough to stay out of harm's way on that one.
1st and 10 again, now in Rider territory. Pitch pass to the other side, and it's Arland Bruce. Shakes one tackle, and again, very close to a first down. Arland Bruce, his first catch of the day. 17 on the season now. And it was a year ago in that game when Kevin Glenn came in that Arland Bruce recorded his first touchdown as a Tiger Cat.
And Arland Bruce gets a little bit of help on this one from number 88, Dave Stala. Does a terrific job blocking, cutting out the legs on the defensive halfback, number 15, Lance Frazier, on that one.
So once again, 2nd and 2. And it looks like Lance Frazier is coming to the sideline. Might have been banged up on that last play. Looks like there it is, a contact lens problem.
With the medical assistants coming out on the field, he'll be down for 3 plays.
So we'll step aside and come back quickly with 6.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan. Shift the way you move. 1-0 Saskatchewan on a single point. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats marching the football now here at Mosaic Stadium. Again for the 3rd successive drive here. 2nd and 2, and Quentin Porter back again. Twin eye behind him. Hands off this time to DeAndre Cobb. Plunges forward and takes a hit, but will move the sticks. Are you a fan of switching quarterbacks like that?
You know, I certainly appreciate the value of it, particularly in situations where you might go with a quarterback sneak because you just save hits on your starting quarterback, and that's the primary reason why teams started doing it. But another bit of upside to it is that it gets backup quarterbacks involved in the game. It keeps them alert, you know, allows them to get some touches as well so they don't feel like complete spectators.
8th play of the drive and thrown once again behind Marquay McDaniel on the far side of the field. Like a miscommunication between quarterback and receiver.
Often you get a situation where both players are looking at the same thing, trying to make a read as to what the route's going to be, but they may interpret it differently. You can see from the reaction of both Kevin Glenn and Marquay McDaniel on this one that they had different reads, different interpretations.
Throwing down again, Glenn. Arland Bruce shakes a tackle, a straight arm, another one. In the face of James Patrick, and Arland Bruce with the biggest play of this ball game brings it close to the red zone.
And this is a big play for Arland Bruce, one of the league's top receivers. And running with that football after the catch. Little slip from the defender, Tad Cornegay, allows Bruce to get the edge. Gets around that corner and turns it up.
Impressive drive so far. Pass. Look to the goal line and a touchdown. Just as he did a year ago, Arland Bruce finds the end zone here in Regina.
You've got to love the concentration on this play from Arland Bruce. Not just in terms of making this catch, as he knows that contact is coming, but once he secures the football, being aware of where that goal line is and making sure he gets over it. It's not just his physical abilities that have made Arland Bruce one of the best receivers in the Canadian Football League.
Second touchdown of the season for Arland Bruce. His eyes light up when he sees green and white. Plays very well, has some career games. Nice start for the Cats. They lead 7-1. 12th game in his career against Saskatchewan. Now 9 touchdowns for Arland Bruce.
And Arland Bruce attacks cover 3 here, right down the seam, which is exactly what you want to do. Bruce, the middle receiver, to the wide side of the field. The corner to that side gets hung up on the outside route briefly where Dave Stala holds him. That creates a wider seam for Arland Bruce. Plenty of time for Kevin Glenn to throw the football.
Sandro DeAngelis puts a leg into it. Stu Ford bobbles the football on the return, and the Roughriders will set up shop near their 28-yard line now and look to respond to that touchdown drive. A very good one by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, really initiated in many ways by Arland Bruce in those catches. 4.5 to go, opening quarter.
Well, a combination of those two guys who have been talked about so much. Arland Bruce, his numbers had been down. He got more involved, and certainly at the start of the drive, DeAndre Cobb in that Hamilton ground game, a key in kick-starting it, allowing Kevin Glenn to run a little bit of play action.
Darian Durant in his second possession, the inside handoff to Weston Dressler. Dressler picking up a couple of yards there. Let's go down to Lee Jones once again on the sideline.
Thanks, guys. After that first Saskatchewan possession, Greg Marshall took the defense aside, wanted to talk a little about communication. He saw that the Riders were using a lot of motion and a bit of confusion in his defense, so he stressed you guys have to communicate before, during, even after the play to make sure you've got everyone covered. Back to you guys.
Greg Marshall, who spent time here as an assistant. And movement on the line. And so Hamilton definitely saw a jump there from Otis Floyd, but were the Ticats drawn?
And Greg Marshall, former Saskatchewan defensive coach for many years.
Offside, Hamilton, number 71. 5-yard penalty, remaining second down.
Garrett McIntyre. A couple of Ticats had moved on that left side.
And there you saw Greg Marshall, one of the veteran defensive coordinators in this league. Certainly a guy who's seen virtually every kind of motion imaginable and understands the ways to combat that. And number one, as you heard Lee Jones tell us, communication.
Play action to West Cass, and once again, it's Andy Fantuz. Big gainer, moves the sticks. Fantuz with his third catch of the afternoon, a 12-yard gain.
And still a little bit of confusion on the back end for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Andy Fantuz is going to release to the wide side of the field. And you'll see two defenders collide with each other. Keep an eye, number 37, Shannon James, will be one of the defenders involved in this collision.
Durant on the roll, and will throw it out of bounds wisely, nobody home. Jordan Matichuk making the catch on the sideline, but of course wearing the wrong jersey.
Well, Darian Durant has come a long way since making his first CFL start against these Hamilton Tiger Cats a couple of years ago, a time when there was a lot of uncertainty at the quarterback position for Saskatchewan, but he has cemented himself in that role and really, over the course of the last year or so, established himself among the league's elite.
He has come of age, Darian Durant. Everybody now out. And a teardrop pass for West Bates. He made that catch. throw. An alley-oop from Darian Durant in the receiving end. Wes Cates makes a circus catch.
We talked earlier about Wes Cates being wide open when he had a free release against man coverage for Mike Brown. Well, that's the matchup that the Roughriders got once again. A good juke right at the line of scrimmage from Wes Cates, got him in behind the defender. Tremendous concentration and beautiful touch on that pass from Darian Durant.
Inside 2 minutes opening quarter, and the Riders looking to bounce right back. And unable to make that reception is Preche Rodriguez. Jason Shivers in on the coverage.
And Jamal Johnson put a real stick on Darian Durant on this one. The Rough Rider quarterback was outside the pocket. Jamal Johnson, the man with contained responsibility, had a free run.
Weston Dressler in motion with the rest of that receiving corps. Durant, and in dangerous territory. And a misfire by Darian Durant will bring out Luka Konji to try a field goal now.
A good hold by the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense, particularly responding after the big play to Cates.
Konji clicking at about 73% on the season. This from 37. The hold, the kick, and it's good. The Rough Riders now trail by 3.
About 50 pounds.
There's Jerome Dennis. First year with the Cats, former Lion.
Mom, I love you. Jessica, I love you.
There it is. Well, saying hi to Jessica, his wife, and his new baby girl, Jayla Isabella Dennis, born last week. Jerome had to miss that game or the birth of his new baby. And congratulations to the Dennises. His wife and daughter are back in BC, healthy and happy. And Jerome Dennis plays his first game as a new man.
That's right.
A proud papa. So Marcus Thigpen is back again. Just over a minute to go in the opening quarter. Eddie Johnson made his CFL debut a year ago for the Toronto Argonauts and only lasted one kick. Got hurt, if you remember. And came to the Riders a couple of weeks ago in his second game. Bouncing football for Thigpen at his 10. Has to find a wall. Marcus Thigpen out near the 37-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by Danny Francis.
That's it, Marcus. Good job. Good job.
Marcus Thigpen continuing to give the Hamilton Tiger Cats good field position. Big addition to the Cats this year after spending training camp and tail end of last season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Was given his walking papers because the Riders felt they had a good return man in Dominic Dorsey. Thigpen would like nothing better than to take one back against the Riders today. No confusion, but Glenn gets it away again for Arland Bruce. Even though there was a little bounce and bump in the backfield, Arland Bruce saves the day.
Well, it appeared as though Kevin Glenn wanted to pull the football and his running back DeAndre Cobb wanted to take it like any back does. Just a little tight on that path to the line of scrimmage was DeAndre Cobb. Kevin Glenn shows the veteran poise, doesn't let it affect him or his delivery.
Quick hitter again. Is it picked? Yes, it is. Luke Mullender, after it was tipped away, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders on the final play of the first quarter with a big turnover from the big guy. "7-4 Hamilton lead after one quarter." Our statistics brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
And a fairly even first quarter from these two football teams. A good start on the road for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Saskatchewan Roughriders, very good again, a giveaway takeaway. They just take away another ball thanks to hot hand Luke Mullender.
Luke Mullender finds himself in unique territory for a defensive lineman, dropping away from the line of scrimmage. He's the man directly behind the center. He's going to end up dropping out of there to help out in coverage. And Luke Mullender, after the tip ball, certainly shows the hands that led to him being recruited by Michigan State as a tight end many years ago.
In and out of the midst of Maurice Mann, unable to hang on, and instant field position on the turnover. Now can the Riders capitalize? Wes Cates, his first career interception.
Luke Mullender telling all the other guys that's how he used to do it in high school.
Hails from the Toronto area. Played his college at Michigan State. Cates in the backfield again, now in motion. 2nd and 4 yards to go. Durant wants to throw. Bag with his first reception of the afternoon, but will be held short of the first down. And once again, Luka Kanji will come out to kick. He'll have the wind behind him and a chance to tie the ball game.
Well, this is a terrific job in coverage by the Hamilton Tiger Cats to force Darian Durant to settle for that short route, less than first down yardage. Nice effort from the linebacker Shannon James, who came up to make the tackle.
Watch the face! Devo, get back! Devo!
Right on the 40-yard line. Mag, who made the catch with the hold. Kanji splits them again. 7-7. Mosaic Stadium. The greats in attendance. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. The kickers doing all the scoring for the Saskatchewan Roughriders so far. Eddie Johnson, the single. Luka Kanji, a pair of field goals. Touchdown by Arlan Bruce. 7-7 the score. Ticats elect to take the ball at their 35-yard line. To begin this drive, they caught with a cutback. Baron Simpson, the Minister of Defense, former Lion, Winnipeg Blue Bomber, now with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There he is, talking to Pete Diakowski.
And Hamilton Tiger Cats clearly committed to getting running back DeAndre Cobb a little bit more involved here today, establishing that ground game early.
Cobb's in the backfield, the side lane. Stays in the pocket, now flushed out. And another first down. And Dave Stala has the catch up near the 48-yard line.
Kevin Glenn looked almost as if he was thinking about running with the football as his initial reads got covered up, but manages with good protection to stay in that pocket and eventually steps up and makes that throw to Dave Stala,
who has become one of the best clutch catchers on second down. If you want to convert a second down, look for number 88. Second season with the Ticats after 6 with Montreal. Far side now, DeAndre Cobb on the receiving end. There you go. And spins very close to the yardstick. In fact, he may have the first down.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats playing a rare snap in a two-back formation. Got the big fullback Darcy Brown out in front to help seal the edge on that one. Free release DeAndre Cobb to the flat.
Hamilton Tiger Cat team that has had very little luck over the last few years against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. In fact, their win last October against Saskatchewan ended an 11-game losing streak. They have not won in Regina. Well, let's say they're old for the decade.
Yeah, I participated in a couple of those losses. Let's just say a little earlier in the decade.
Not won at Mosaic Stadium since 2000. And it is a first down.
And that is
Seen a lot of ball control offense so far from both sides. Been able to eat up the clock. The head man, of course, is Ken Miller.
Ken Miller took over this team at a very tough time, replacing Kent Austin, who had just won a Grey Cup in 2007. Ken Miller hasn't missed a beat. This team has continued to play at a very high level, despite a lot of injuries, player losses through the offseason. Nothing seems to phase him.
Strong arm, and Arlen Bruce had to go high, but it was through his hands. A lot of adversity off the field and on the field in Regina. And the team that won the Grey Cup in 07, Ken Miller takes over after Kent Austin. And this team has really found a belief system.
Well,
no lead is safe.
They've established a culture within the dressing room here in Regina, within this football team, that there are no excuses. It doesn't matter what goes wrong. It doesn't matter who's missing. Whoever steps in is just expected to perform.
Second and 10. And open on the far sideline. Markway McDaniel knocked out hard by number 39. On the far side.
Markway McDaniel comes into this game as the Tiger Cats' leading receiver. Lines up in the slot on this play.
There's the hit here by Chris McKenzie, one of the new DBs in Saskatchewan. Roughriders no longer have Eddie Davis around, the veteran. Lamb again, Bruce again. Bruce is loose, down to the 10-yard line.
Well, Arlen Bruce just shook Lance Frazier right out of his helmet on this play. Bruce just with the quick slant. Gets that inside position on Frazier. You just see Bruce's heel came up and clipped Frazier's face mask, knocking the helmet off as the DB went for the tackle.
This will be the 7th play of the drive that began at their own 35-yard line. To the end zone, a touchdown. Dave Stalla's first of the season. And that's impressive. Little hacky sack in the end zone. Dave Stalla gives the Ticats the lead again.
Well, you mentioned just moments ago how he's become Mr. Second Down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Here he becomes Mr. Touchdown. Stalla, a great offseason pickup prior to the 2009 season for the Tiger Cats. The cagey receiver knows how to use that motion, use his hands to get off the jam into the end zone.
And after using his hands, very adept at using his feet as well. Boy, the French soccer team could have used him. Well, the boys of summer are back, and they're hungry. Shark Week returns tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
Hey, guys. Hey, Dylan, happy birthday, buddy. That was for you. Happy birthday. Hey, baby.
That's a nice birthday gift from Dave Stalla's first touchdown of the season. Dominic Dorsey finding some room. Former Special Teams Player of the Year with the Toronto Argonauts a couple of seasons ago. Fresh off a very good drive, engineered by Kevin Glenn.
Some clutch plays from the Tiger Cat receivers. Dave Scala, Arlen Bruce with a nice catch and run. That sets up Scala for the touchdown. Terrific move on the defender, Chris McKenzie, to get himself open.
That is a very unique touchdown celebration. We have not seen that one.
Some skills from Dave Scala.
Who can also kick, by the way, as you can tell. He has kicked before. Darian Durant opts to take it himself and will come close to a first down. Little pump fake from Darian Durant on a hitch, and the Tiger Cats bit.
Well, Shannon James does a nice job here with the recognition. He's number 37, the strong side linebacker. He'll show up on the right side. He runs in between Durant and the intended receiver on this play, forces Durant to pull the ball and take off.
2nd and 3. Durant looks like he slipped, but still let it go to Rob Bagg, who has it. Nice catch by Rob Bagg. 2nd of the afternoon. Inside the 25-yard line. Tackle made by Jerome Dennis.
Rob Bagg established himself as a sneaky big play guy in this Saskatchewan offense a year ago. His partner over on that side, Chris Getzlaff, creates a little bit of traffic, and that leaves the halfback, Jerome Dennis, a step behind. Once again, we see the tremendous touch on the football from Darian Durant.
The give to Cates. Spinning Wes Cates plows forward. Dylan Barker, his first start at free safety, lost his lid on the hit. Wes Cates showing what he does best.
A spin move from Cates before the meeting of the number 20s.
It'll be 2nd.
Deuce.
Short yardage.
Right in.
Zarka and Cates behind Darian Durant. Chris Zarka buries his head and gets the first down.
Well, Rod, you mentioned Hamilton free safety Dylan Barker making his first start of 2010. Barker takes over that spot after his predecessor and mentor Sandy Beveridge retired earlier this week to accept a job with the Hamilton Fire Department. After 9 years in black and gold, Beveridge moves on. Barker, the first overall pick in 2008, gets this job full-time.
Durant, goal line, ball taken away. Dylan Barker on cue takes what looked like a sure touchdown away from Weston Dressler.
Well, this is exactly the element that Dylan Barker brings to the table for the Tiger Cats. He's an old-school, physical free safety, likes to throw the hat around a little bit. He goes looking for the hit on Weston Dressler and manages to pop the ball out of there as a bonus.
He loves to hit. Sat down with him yesterday, a chance to talk with him. The apprenticeship of Dylan Barker is now over with Sandy Beveridge's retirement. What a place to make your start.
Half an hour from his home in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
2nd and 10 now. Durant looking end zone. No one home, and he's knocked out of bounds just in front of the first down marker.
Credit the Hamilton Tiger Cats secondary here. As Darian Durant was looking to throw the entire time he ran with that football.
3rd down now and about a yard and a bit. Crowd wants the Roughriders and Ken Miller to go after this. No sign of Luka Conji, so they will go after it. Third down, Gamble now. From inside the 5-yard line. Lots of motion. Durant in trouble. Throws. Picked up. Jamal Johnson dances out to the 20-yard line And a turnover for the Cats, their first of the game. Ken Miller can't believe it.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats dodge a little bit of a bullet here as they went to a big team in the short yardage situation. Saskatchewan stayed with 5 receivers, but the pressure they got with those 5 D linemen forces Durant into a hurry-up. And the beneficiary, Jamal Johnson.
Tackles leader last year in the CFL, and this season, his first interception. Kevin Glenn, who spent some time here in Saskatchewan, knows a lot about the Roughriders and their rather unique defense that they've been throwing at opposition the last couple of years, engineered, of course, by Gary Echeverry.
But it's more so that, you know, that pre-snap read where you have a guy who may not necessarily be in a position that you're used to seeing him in. And just all of a sudden after the snap, he gets to that position. So I think Echeverry does a great job at, at confusing guys and confusing quarterbacks at the beginning of the snap.
Likes to create chaos. Look at all the guys on the line here. On 2nd down and 9. Here comes the rush. Glenn lets it go. Almost had that picked. Intended for Dave Stala. And it was Chris McKenzie, who knows he almost had his first interception. And Kevin Glenn got banged up. Looks like he may have hurt his shoulder here. He had a lot of green jerseys in his face.
Well, he sure did. Safety James Patrick is down low, as his corner coming off the left side, Omar Morgan. Plenty of pressure, which leads to the bad throw and near interception.
Justin Pilardi, his first punt. Dominic Dorsey corralled at his 53-yard line.
Kevin Glenn still in obvious pain over on the Hamilton sideline. His throwing shoulder.
May have jammed that arm and that shoulder on the hit from Tad Cornegay.
Cornegay, number 24, comes unblocked on the play.
Trying to get an update. Lee Jones down below. 14-7 Cats. Little screen play. West Gates still motoring. And a penalty marker. Might have been a face mask. Rough play. Dylan Barker in on the hit. And this will move. No, it's a hold. And it's going against Saskatchewan.
Holding Saskatchewan, number 6. A 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Rob Bagg, one of the receivers out. Darian Durant on the quick drop and the little dump pass to Wes Cates.
Well, it can be tough on those screen passes when you're a receiver trying to block downfield. If the running back gets held up at all, it throws your timing a little bit. And Rob Bagg is sort of riding his defender from behind on this one. So a fairly easy call for the officials.
First and 20. 4.5 to go before halftime. Durant, strong arm. Fantus cutting back. We'll get to the original line of scrimmage. Andy Fantus has done a lot in his CFL career already. The most outstanding Canadian in the Grey Cup. He's become a star here in Regina. And you know you're a star, Dwayne Ford, when you have your own cereal.
Yeah, Andy Fantus's Fantus Flakes were unveiled earlier this week.
And you are a lover of food. Have you tried these?
I haven't tried the Fantus Flakes yet.
Darian Durant again over the middle. Chris Getzlaff, but there was a penalty flag that flew. And the initial indication is it is against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So a second down conversion.
Offside. Hamilton, number 95. That penalty is declined. First down.
Justin Hickman. But how about that for Andy Fantuz? And there's Kevin Glenn throwing. So looks like he might be able to come back in the game. A la Doug Flutie. Flutie Flakes. But the big thing about the cereal is that it raised money. Sales towards the Children's Hospital, the foundation here in Regina. So they've been selling like hotcakes. Western Kicks. Rambles up the middle. Moves the chains again. 14-yard gain. Let's get an update on Kevin Glenn now. Here's Lee.
All right, thanks, guys. Kevin Glenn, quarterback of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, injured his side, a huge bruise down his right side, but it's not too serious, hurts a little bit, but he is expected to be in Hamilton's offensive series coming up, guys.
Close to that red zone or green zone for some teams. Riders. It's Cates again on a cutback. 3-minute warning before halftime. Riders on the move here, down 7. Well, Wendy's Kick for $1 million is back. Your chance to be one of 4 to go head-to-head to qualify for the live halftime show. Enter at tsn.ca/Wendy's, plus upsize your Wendy's combo. Get a game card to get bonus entries, and you can kick a field goal and win all that stuff, including $1 million. Under 3 minutes before halftime. Riders down 7. Durant going deep, and that will move the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Weston Dressler interfered with by Jason Shivers.
Well, as funny as it sounds to say for the way that Jason Shivers just ran over Weston Dressler, this was actually unintentional. Shivers thought the ball was going deep as the two of them are battling from that inside position.
Hamilton, number 2. Automatic first down.
Because Shivers hadn't looked back to locate the football, and that, of course, is why he gets flagged. He thought Dressler was going deep and just kept running. As Dressler tried to adjust to the football, Shivers ran him down.
Saskatchewan trying to make amends for the last time they were down here. Moments ago, it seemed. Jamal Johnson, the interception. First and goal. As Cates is stuffed. Needs a Tiger Cat wall.
Tiger Cats led by Otis Floyd, the veteran linebacker. Done a decent job of containing Wes Cates here on the ground. Cates had that big reception in the first quarter.
Watch out!
Good yard now, guys. Good yard now.
Bag in motion. Durant looks his way. Bag in and out of his hands. So now another third down play, and this time Ken Miller will not go for it near the goal line.
No, Ken Miller's going to take the points after the infrequent sight of the drop by Rob Bag. Great route on Jason Shivers, that out and up. Once again, the touch from Darian Durant, but Bag unable to complete it.
Luka Konji, perfect today, 2 for 2. 3 of 3. And once again, it's a 4-point game. Well, that's twice the Roughriders have been inside the 5-yard line. In fact, down to the goal line, and came away only with 3 points in 2 trips. Well, tonight's Scotiabank Show Your Colors family is the Mooney family from Southeast Saskatchewan. Pat, Shelley, Alyssa, and Emily. There they are. Season ticket holders for 18 years. And they are diehard Rider Priders. Got a chance to meet the coach.
The Mooney girls
Had a chance to tour the truck earlier. Get a chance with our great production team down there. how it goes on behind the scenes, and even, you know, I must admit, you're pretty selfish with your telestrator.
I don't.
You let the girls touch the telestrator. Dave Stala. And congratulations to the Moonies for being tonight's Scotiabank Show Your Colors family. Nice family. A nice visit up here with us before the game. We asked them who their favorite riders were. All of them.
Yeah.
As you know, the other 30,000 people who are here probably say the same thing.
Although the girls did have a little bit of a soft spot for Weston Dressler.
They did. They did. Second down and 4 yards to go. Len stays in the pocket. Over the top in traffic. And there is a penalty flag that was thrown at the 41-yard line on the near side of the field. And once again, Kim Murphy will sort it out. And it's against the Tiger Cats, so moot point. They will once again kick it away.
Offside. Hamilton number 1. A penalty is declined. Third down.
Back-to-back 2-and-outs for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Arlan Bruce, the guilty party. Dominic Dorsey is back. Said and told us yesterday he is just itching to bring one back. Now you used to do it with regularity. Finds a hole. Dominic Dorsey churns to the 48-yard line, and that's a little like the Dominic Dorsey there we're used to here in Saskatchewan and in Toronto.
Well, Dominic Dorsey perhaps inspired by a little bit of pressure here today. We mentioned earlier that Dorsey won that kick returner job over Marcus Thigpen in training camp. Thigpen ended up joining Hamilton. You look at their numbers, and it's Thigpen who's had the far more impressive season to date.
Especially on punt returns. Thigpen, of course, returns for touchdown 4 different ways. During the first 2 games of the season, has been silent since then. A minute and a half to go before halftime. This time hanging on. And in pursuit was Kahari Long to make the tackle, and the ball now in Ticat territory.
Darian Durant, just prior to that last play, tries to put his mouth guard in before the play, but with that time clock just being 20 seconds, didn't have time to get it, so he had to go without for a down.
Sends out the Air Force. Goes to his left, and Wes Cates hangs on, takes a hop. He's been putting on a show here in this first half.
I'll tell you what, Jamal Johnson's eyes just lit up as he saw that this ball was going to Wes Cates, because he knew he was going to have a chance to lower the boom on the Riders running back. But Johnson fails to wrap up against a guy like Wes Cates. That's the key to bringing him down. Johnson goes for the big collision but doesn't wrap up on the tackle.
First and 10 again. Far sideline, leaping high is Priche Rodriguez against Jason Shivers, and that should not be anything new to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They saw a lot of that when Priche Rodriguez was wearing their uniform.
And we're all well aware of what a healthy Priche Rodriguez brings to an offense. That great height, ability to stretch the field vertically. A guy who creates a real mismatch physically for a lot of defensive backs, a lot of corners.
Second and 5 after the catch by Rodriguez. Deep drop again. Down the sideline, Durant, but unable to find Rodriguez on a fly pattern. There was a penalty flag at the 51-yard line in the backfield. Likely holding against Saskatchewan. Let's go down to Lee Jones now for an update on the weather
Yeah, guys, remember last night's game in Edmonton, BC and the Eskimos was delayed about 45 minutes because of lightning in the area as thunderstorms passed through Edmonton. Well, there are thunderstorm warnings throughout Saskatchewan, but it looks like the worst of it is just south of Regina in the Estevan-Weyburn area and just north. So if things work out, Mosaic Stadium may be lucky and miss the entire bit of it, but we'll keep you up to date on it throughout the second half.
Well, let's hope. We've heard that there's some golf ball-sized hail in that storm. Last night's game in Edmonton had to be delayed because of the lightning. And of course, the news today, the Eskimos, after their first win of the season, have fired their general manager, Danny Machocha. Luka Konji. This from the 42 to make it a one-point game. And he has been perfect so far. People in Saskatchewan are getting excited. In a couple of weeks, Canadian Football Hall of Fame weekend take place here in Regina. 4 great inductees this year. One man who owns a special place is the legend himself, George Reed. Hall of Fame this year will also feature a Saskatchewan Roughrider of the past who is a legend as well, and Don Narcisse, great receiver of the past. Bob Cameron, the great punters, all-time games played. I think he played till he was about 70. Tracy Ham, former Alouette and Eskimo quarterback, and Alfred Payton, all-time sacks leader. And tickets are available for that. What will be a fabulous weekend here in Regina. You can log on to the Riders website. You can go to get tickets for the people here in the province from the Roughriders organization. Of course, the Canadian Football Hall of Fame actually exists in Hamilton, the Hall of Fame and Museum, but chance to play it out here in Regina again, the Hall of Fame weekend. And Don Narcisse will even have his own day. It will be Don Narcisse Day on August 12th. CFL record for most catches consecutively in games, a streak of over 200 games. Remarkable record. DeAndre Cobb busted up the middle. 4 seconds to go before halftime. So likely the last play, barring penalty, of a first half. It's had a lot of ebb and flow to it. Momentum on both sides.
Well, it has, but one of the constants, which I love from a Hamilton point of view, has been the involvement of DeAndre Cobb, turning in his best half of football this season.
Arland Bruce is wide right, top of your screen. Kevin Glenn is going to heave one for Bruce in a crossing pattern, and he's down. Arland Bruce, one of the touchdowns. Strong first half. Hamilton Tiger Cats lead by 1, 14-13. First game of our doubleheader. Live at the half is next.
Hi, everybody. Dave, Milt, Matt, and Chris back in our CFL on TSN studios. 14-13 Hamilton. Chelsea, this is back-to-back weeks. The Ticats have played Grey Cup finalists. They were in it last week in Montreal. The Owls pulled away. We will see what happens. Normally, we would discuss what is going on in our game, but there was major news in Edmonton today that needs discussing in itself, and that is the Edmonton Eskimos have fired Danny Machocha. He is no longer their general manager and director of football operations. Machocha was the head coach there for 4 years, became the GM in November 2008, so he's in charge for not even 2 full seasons as the general manager. The president and CEO, Rick Lawlisher, said prior to Friday night's game that if they did not win and beat BC, there would be major changes. They did win, but he makes the firing anyway. And then he admitted today, Matt, that he'd already had his mind made up and that he was going to make this move. He does. Firing Machocha, was it the right move?
My opinion, yes. And a lot of opinions in Edmonton, yes, it was. And it's the least abrasive but most effective. Least abrasive because it doesn't affect the structure of the football team on the field and players won't be bothered. offense coordinator, defense coordinators, head coach, they can go about their business. But, you know, what it will do is incorporate Paul Jones, the assistant GM, and Dan McKinnon, the manager of football administration, Canadian scouting, and Ed Hervey into the position. So it'll be done by committee now, and I think it's the least abrasive, most effective because, you know, Danny Machocha had his run. He's been there since 2002. And, Dave, a lot of people think that, you know, it's been the cause of the Eskimos' demise over the last 4 or 5 seasons. And I know that's a tough decision on Rick Lawlisher. It's tough on families. You know, we're talking about Danny Machocha, yes, but it's tough on his family, and he's vested a lot of time in the Edmonton Eskimos. And Dave, I can tell you, it's a tough decision by Rick Lawlisher, but one I think had to be made.
It was tough on Machocha's family. The court of public opinion did play into this decision for whatever reason. Machocha's a great guy and all, but he just was never accepted by the Eskimo faithful, and Lawlisher admitted that was part of the decision as well. How does this affect the guys in the room? There's 13 games left, Milt.
Well, I think it affects them, and I have to disagree with you on this. I think it really affects them. One thing it says is I don't think that trust factor is there before. Going into this game, you're thinking that if we win the game, everybody's safe. And knowing that your GM, before the game, was only going to get fired by the president, what does that say? What does that say about a player? What does that say about your head coach? What does that say about your president? Knowing that maybe this season is over with. Maybe that's what that president is saying by getting rid of that GM, that this season maybe is over with.
Well, I don't think it's a great, situation for the Edmonton Eskimos. And I don't agree. I don't think anything's necessarily going to happen now that you do not have a person in this position in Danny Machocha. I mean, you look at 2 of the losses for the Edmonton Eskimos, they go back very specifically for critical mistakes by players on the field at critical times. So all management does, they earn their money in the offseason. Players earn their money when they're playing. So I don't think it's going to do a doggone thing.
The Eskimos got their first win last night. They're at home to Toronto next week, and then their next 5 weeks are against either Calgary, Saskatchewan, and Montreal. How about Dave Stella? This was a beautiful celebration. Touchdown, Ticats. Welcome back. Prior to kickoff here, Brianna Gerwatz was the Scotiabank Kid captain, and she was able to get up close with the Ticats and Roughriders to help with the coin toss. Be sure to enter your child at ScotiaKidCaptain.com. Here are the halftime numbers, brought to you as always by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL. Chelsea?
Well, Dave, the first quarter was about DeAndre Cobb, big reason for 208 net yards. The second quarter was about Wes Cates, big reason for the 209 yards here. I'll be interested to see which running back has the better second half.
Moose Jaw native Dylan Barker, playing for the Ticats, spoke with our Lee Jones.
Hamilton Tiger-Cats safety Dylan Barker, and I guess Dylan, you've been able to hold the Riders in the first half to 4 field goals, an interception in the end zone. Haven't been able to do it.
Well, I mean, we're just getting good pressure on them, keeping Darian in the pocket, and then, stop the big plays, don't give them any gimmies. That's what they feed off.
I know a boy from Moose Jaw, I know you got your first start last year against the Riders in Hamilton, but what's it like to be back here at Mosaic Stadium, a place that you used to play a lot with U of S Huskies facing U of R Rams?
It feels good. I mean, the energy here is unreal. I mean, we're having some fun. Just looking to come back out here second half and finish it off.
Thanks for this.
All right, no problem.
Made a couple of good plays there in that second quarter, too, didn't he, Matty?
Yes, he did.
Don't forget, Game 2 of our doubleheader as Winnipeg at Calgary. James Cebulski is here now with a Sports Center update. Recently married. Congratulations.
Thank buddy. Much appreciated.
All right.
Yeah, rocking the bling. Yeah, how about that? I don't know. Can you do that as a guy, bragging
bling?
about that? Well, something like that. I don't know. Not a big jewelry guy until now. Moving right along, the Toronto Blue Jays, Jose Batista. How do you segue from that? Well,
you don't.
You just don't. Thanks, man. How about this? The win streak over for the Jays. Shin Soo Choo doubling to left. A couple of runs come into count as the Indians take it 2-1. The final, the Jays win streak ends at 4. A-Rod still looking for home run number 600. 34 at-bats since .599. First at-bat tonight against Tampa. He gets walked. It's now 1-1 between the Yankees and Tampa, that in the third inning. And the Yankees have now officially acquired Lance Berkman from the Houston Astros. It's expected Berkman will be the Yankees' DH. The Yanks also picking up pitcher Kerry Wood from the Indians. The 33-year-old saved 8 games for the Tribe this season. A whole lot more action coming your way in the second half and a doubleheader night in the Canadian Football League.
First of the season. Little hacky sack, and that's impressive. Back at Mosaic Stadium, sun-splashed afternoon. There is some thunder shower activity around the area. We hope it doesn't come near here. Right now, it's a 1-point game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Here's Lee Jones.
Our running back of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Wes Cates. And Wes, you guys were able only to get field goals in that first half down in the red zone. What needs to change so that you can put in some majors?
We just need to clean some things up individually. You know, we're having a couple of breakdowns here and there, but we'll get it together, man. We've been moving the ball well. We just need to finish our drives.
Thanks for this.
Yep, thank you.
Well, right you are, Wes Cates and Dwayne Ford. They have not been finishing their drives, hence the 13 points put on the board by Luka Konji, who's been perfect, and that single by Eddie Johnson.
Well, the one thing, though, when you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats is you can never really relax around this Saskatchewan offense led by Darian Durant. So many weapons, so many guys they can go to in that green zone. You know, you particularly look at the height in that receiving core with Rodriguez and Fantus and some of the matchups those guys create.
Sandro DeAngelis will kick it off. Dominic Dorsey is back with Stu Ford. Second half underway. Keeping it away from Dorsey, giving it to Stu Ford, the Regina native. The average start for scrimmage for the Saskatchewan Roughriders is from their 48-yard line. They start here from the 42 for the Tiger Cats, their own 33. But once again, it's been a story of being unable to get a touchdown for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
We'll take a look at those quarterback numbers from the first half. Virtually identical in terms of, well, the completion percentages and yardage not far off, each of them throwing one interception in that first half.
Darian Durant, 5 picks on the season. Kevin Glenn, just 2. First series of this third quarter. Another hitch pass on the far side to Rob Bag. But on the corner, Will Hayward brings him down. There's Markeith Knowlton, who went out of the lineup early in the ball game, but is back in that linebacking core for Hamilton.
Yeah, Knowlton suffered what we believe was a burner in the first half, that tingling down the neck and arms. Shannon James filled in for the rest of that first half, but Tiger Cats certainly glad to have one of their best defenders back in the lineup.
5 yards from a first down, and Darian Durant has to scramble. Throws it to the sideline. Pass is incomplete. Rob Bag had his hands on it, but he was out of bounds. And so it will be a quick 2-and-out to start this second half, and Eddie Johnson will come out and boot the football away.
The Hamilton offense that we expected to see firing on all cylinders after they're suffering their first loss of the season last week. Still unable to get things going.
Setting up a return. Oh, what a kick. Way up in the stratosphere. Marcus Thigpen takes it on the hop. Burst outside, and now a quick race. Thigpen stays in bounds and finally knocked out at the 32-yard line. That kick might have started rain. That is one of the highest punts we have seen.
Well, that's the thing Eddie Johnson brings, is that hang time. And when you're a cover guy, it takes a little bit of adjusting. You've got to get used to the timing of when you're going to throttle downfield. But man, you love when you can run down there as opposed to a kicker who's always got the ball out ahead of you.
Again, Eddie Johnson, the import kicker, replacing Luis Dakota, who's still on the roster. But Ken Miller felt that we're getting enough yardage out of that foot, only 33.9 yards per punt. Johnson brings a lot more. Play action. Thigpen into the backfield, and Marcus Thigpen takes off to the 50-yard line. And he is a versatile guy. He can return the kicks as he has done 3 times. He's also scored on a reception this season.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats continue to build that offensive package to include their kick return specialist, Marcus Thigpen. here with the screen to get him the ball in a little bit of space and allow him to use some of those kick return type skills.
Former track star, high school and college, former Indiana Hoosier. Kevin Glenn behind center this time. And on the reverse, Thigpen again gets the call. You would think Marcus Thigpen might be a little gassed after bringing a kick back and then getting successive touches.
Absolutely. Didn't have quite the same burst trying to get around the corner on that one that he did on the 2 previous plays. That one well defended by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Free safety James Patrick doing a nice job to maintain his leverage and not let Thigpen get around the edge.
Time for refreshment on the sideline. Catches breath. Throwing down for Glenn. In the pocket. And Arland Bruce will be held short of a first down. Lance Frazier was right up on Arland Bruce, who again has had some monster games in the past against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and picking up where he has left off in the past. He has 7 catches, 119 yards already, and a touchdown.
Well, this is a breakout game that Arland Bruce needed, but working against a veteran like Lance Frazier, you're not going to win every battle. Frazier sticking to him like glue on that one.
Rookie punter Justin Pillardi from St. Mary's. This is into the breeze. And a no yards call, so add 15 onto that. Saskatchewan will have pretty good field position. Down 1 when we come back to Mosaic Stadium in Regina.
Yannick Carter is the man who gets flagged for no yards here. You have to give that 5-yard radius around the man receiving a kick. I'd say Carter's at about 4.9 yards on that.
4.99 maybe. 15-yard penalty. Tough to make that decision immediately, though. Fast motion.
Well, you've got a returner and a cover guy moving towards each other.
They begin at the 31. Durant with time. The sidearm. Over to Andy Fantuz again. And very close to another Saskatchewan first down. Let's go down to the sideline. Once again, here's Lee Jones.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I can tell you firsthand, it is hot on the field, plus 30 degrees Celsius. But what the Tiger Cats are experiencing on the field, nothing to what they're feeling in the dressing room. The air conditioning not working. In fact, some players felt it was actually blowing heat into their locker room. So they love coming out here, kind of what the legends say about Boston Garden when the Bruins used to be in the playoffs. But the Riders don't feel bad for them. They say when they go to Hamilton, it's the same thing, guys.
Heat in the dressing room. Coincidence?
I think not.
Look at Jordan Matichuk with that hat on and pour the water over top, or even put an ice bag on your head. Steamy in the sun.
Yeah, you do whatever you have to do on a day like this.
So they move the yardsticks again on that second down plunge. All the receivers to the right. Dressler in motion. Durant over the top. And very close to being another interception. Dylan Barker almost had a hometown pick. He did pick off his first as a Tiger Cat last year against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in his first start, albeit in Hamilton.
Well, he almost had a gimme here. Appreciate Rodriguez was wide open, but Darian Durant throws it behind him. Barker was initially thinking hit and then was just unable to completely redirect his focus to wrap up that football.
Durant rolls out of trouble, sidesteps one and will take off with it. Finds the edge and lunging forward. Wes Cates through a fabulous block. And it will result, it looks like, in a first down. And Darian Durant, what's that word you used before, Mr. Ford? Escapability?
Yeah, the created word, but how about the block by Wes Cates? How's this for a word? Hellacious. Earholes Jerome Dennis. to spring Darian Durant for the first down.
A few times now that Durant has taken off with it. He's got fleet feet. And over the middle, Weston Dressler. First catch of the afternoon for one of the brightest stars in the game.
Well, surprising to see Weston Dressler held off the stat sheet for this long. This is a guy who in 2 games this season has had 9 receptions each. Season opener against Montreal and last week against Calgary.
Native of Bismarck, North Dakota, played with the Fighting Sioux at UND. He's come up to Canada and become one of the stars of the game. Durant now going to the end zone. Penalty flag. Vantuz has it, and down at the 1-yard line. What a grab. It was going to be a penalty anyways. Vantuz with a Velcro on those mitts.
Well, the former University of Western Ontario star matched up against Jason Shivers here.
Pass interference. Hamilton, number 2. That penalty is declined. First down.
Well, yeah, you can go half the distance to the goal line after a catch. He was at the goal line. So here's the rub for the Riders. Twice late in the second quarter, they've been here, close to the goal line, and all they came away with 3 points. Andy Vantuz, Mr. Cereal Box himself, 6 catches, 77 yards so far. First and goal, looking to punch it in. Cates does. Touchdown. Some fists fly down there, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders have found the end zone for the first time today.
A pretty good philosophy here for Wes Cates. Just follow your big fullback, Chris Zarka. He's going to plow the way through. Nice kick out block by the veteran fullback. Allows Cates to slip in for the major.
Seven-play, 78-yard drive. Luka Kanji to convert the point after. And the Roughriders surge in front now. Have a 20-14 lead. Wes Cates punches it in, 4th touchdown of the season, first for the Roughriders today. Big assist going to Andy Vantuz.
It's got to be the cereal.
It's got to be the cereal. Look at that. When you have your cereal, maybe that was the only box you could get. Selling, sold out all the cereal.
I've got the scouting report, by the way, on the cereal. A little bit like an oatmeal crisp. I think there are some almonds in there.
Marcus Thigpen will take it from his goal line. Thigpen reversing field, and look out here. Foot race now for Marcus Thigpen out at the 30-yard line, but should have and could have been stopped at the 12-yard line. Andy Vantuz and his cereal, you kind of wonder. The flakes have to be green, aren't they? But I guess they're not.
Well, here's Shamari Williams, the #1 overall pick in the 2010 CFL draft. He's got a shot at Thigpen. Just overruns him. Williams getting his feet wet on special teams here in his rookie season for the Riders.
Vanier Cup champion with the Queens Gales. #1 overall pick. Learning on the fly. Hamilton's turn now. DeAndre Cobb up the middle. Plows. Rolls over Tad Cornegay and James Patrick.
One of the criticisms of DeAndre Cobb this year has been that he sometimes seems a little hesitant in the backfield, maybe trying to make his moves a little bit too early before he gets to the line of scrimmage. There was no hesitation whatsoever in that run. Hit the line full speed and kept that going as he went into contact. DeAndre Cobb averaging about 6 yards a touch here so far.
Double tight ends. Glenn behind center for blocking help, opening a hole again. Another touch for DeAndre Cobb. Former 6th round draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons back in 2005. And NFL season not too far around the corner. We say hello to all of you watching south of the border on the NFL Network. Glad you're with us today. Rod Black, Dwayne Ford, Lee Jones, and our entire team here at Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan. Roughriders with a 20-14 lead, a game that has gone back and forth. Chris Bauman, top of your screen, wide right on 2nd down and 5. And there is Bauman. In and out of his hands. And Lance Frazier also very close to a pick. Chris Bauman's getting a lot of playing time because the Hamilton Tiger Cats gave the walking papers to Bryson James this week because of his inconsistency hanging on to the football.
And this is exactly the thing. Chris Bauman's getting more of an opportunity now. He's got to take advantage of that opportunity. Show of frustration from Glenn.
Justin Pilardi has it blocked. Neil Hughes blocked it. Knocked out of bounds. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have the ball right back when we come back.
We talk a lot about the importance of the kicking game in Canadian football, where 3 downs means often every 3rd play is a special teams play. And here are the Hamilton Tiger Cats with a rookie punter. Justin Pilardi makes 2 mistakes on this. First, taking his eyes off that ball as it's coming to him. The second one was that Neil Hughes was the only man pressuring him to kick that ball. Pilardi could have pulled the ball down, waited for 1 second. Hughes would have overrun him, and he had all the time in the world to punt it.
Roughriders looking to pounce on that mistake now. Wes Cates is pounced upon.
We'll take another look here at this punt block. Neil Hughes is coming from this side. Justin Pilardi has every opportunity to step back and step around him. Hughes is the only man there to force the kick. If he doesn't block it, Pilardi's got time to kick that football, but I think a little bit of panic set in there for the rookie punter.
Our armchair hero brought to you by Nissan. Shift the way you move. 2nd and 7 now. Going over the top, and again, an overthrow. So Luka Konji will try to get 3 points off of this turnover. We've had a number of turnovers here today, but only 3 points off the turnover earlier in the game by Luka Konji, and he will try to do that again. Only perfect so far. Began the day with a 74% ratio. Successful field goals made. 35-yard line this time. And once again, 5 for 5. And the Roughriders have a 23-14 lead. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Back at Mosaic Stadium, Roughriders open up a 23-14 advantage on what is a very special year in Regina for the football club. 100th anniversary celebration. Riders trying to stretch their record today to 4-1. Glenn had it knocked down. Tad Cornegay encroaching on that line again and offering a little pressure.
Cornegay, number 24, one of the most versatile players in the Canadian Football League. He's going to come on that blitz off the edge. Situation where they're only rushing 4 guys, but Cornegay, the blitzing linebacker. Gets his hands up.
2nd and 10. Quick hitter up to the 50-yard line. His favorite target, Arland Bruce. A year ago, this Hamilton team came to Regina, as we said earlier, trailed 23-0 at halftime. Scored 16 points in the third quarter. Eventually did lose the ball game, but it was kind of a turn of the tide for the Cats in their season because Arland Bruce started to heat up and Kevin Glenn took control at quarterback. Eventually they went on to the playoffs. In a 9-9 season. Glenn play action rolling, and over the middle again, down to the 40-yard line of the Riders is Arland Bruce. And Arland Bruce has been racking up some big real estate here.
Well, he sure has. Bruce came into this game with 16 catches for 211 yards. He seems like he's on a mission to try and double his numbers all in one game. This is what we expected from Arland Bruce after going through his first full training camp with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, being comfortable in this system from day one. It's taken him a few weeks to get going.
On first down, inside the 34-yard line. 5.5 yards. Saskatchewan defense again that has given up the most points in the CFL leading up to week 5. Now keep in mind a lot of those points also came in game 1 when the Montreal Alouettes put up 50. Number a little skewed, but the Riders still trying to find their continuity defensively. Been down, little slap, picked up. Lance Frazier. Loads of room. Frazier. Kevin Glenn, the last man, stays in bounds. Lance Frazier out at the 2-yard line. Turnover's a killer right now for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Huge return on that interception by Lance Frazier.
Kevin Glenn has thrown 2 interceptions in this football game, and both of them have gone off the hands of his own receivers. This time trying to hit Dave Stala on that slant. A reach and catch, but nonetheless a catch Stala not only usually makes, but has to make for his quarterback.
That time, Mr. Second Down saw the ball tip into the hands of Lance Frazier. A 77-yard return, his second pick of the season. Down near the goal line they go again. Prisarka plowing. But not getting in, and it will be 2nd and goal. Yeah, both picks against Kevin Glenn today can't be put on the quarterback.
No, they sure can't. Once again, a catch. You know, Dave Stala is one of those guys you'd bet your house on him catching the football if it gets anywhere near him. One of the most sure-handed receivers in the Canadian Football League.
Durant behind center again. 2nd and goal. Sarka. And Wes Cates. Durant fumbled the ball. And now on 3rd down, once again, after another turnover, the best the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to be able to do is a Luka Conji field goal. And the Roughriders, even though they have the lead, and even though they have had a couple of picks, just have not been able to capitalize fully on those turnovers.
No, they sure haven't. Have 1st and goal from in that tight and have to settle for 3. That constitutes a victory, or in this case more of a loss for Saskatchewan than a victory for Hamilton.
This would make it 6 for 6 for Luka Conji. This one just a little chip shot. Bores it through. And another 3 points on the board. 26-14 now the score. Let's go back and review the interceptions by the Saskatchewan Roughriders after two receivers really should have had the ball.
Yeah, similar type routes. Maurice Mann in the first half on a slant route. Had it go off his hands. Luke Molinder gets the pick. Here, Dave Scala deflects the football into the waiting hands of Lance Frazier.
Saskatchewan Roughriders, who only had 3 interceptions before today, 2 by James Patrick in the last game, so their ball hawks doing a job. And look who came back, and it was Chris Bauman who was able to knock him out of bounds. Arlen Bruce on the bench.
Arlen Bruce sends a little bit of a message with the way he ran that football. But Chris Bauman's tackle ultimately saved his team 4 points. Little play action hitch screen from Kevin Glenn to Arlen Bruce. Lowers the shoulder on Lance Frazier on that one. I think he was mad at him about that interception.
Maybe final play, third quarter. Hamilton will have the wind in the final quarter. Marquay McDaniel, buried by Lance Frazier, who had the longest return of an interception in his career, 77 yards, only resulted in a field goal. The Riders have a 26-14 lead after 3. Heading to the fourth quarter here at Mosaic Stadium in Regina. Roughriders by a dozen. Our statistics brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
And both these teams, again, virtually identical in terms of the yardage they've generated. Why does Saskatchewan have a 12-point lead? You take a look at those turnovers. Hamilton turning the ball over 3 times. Saskatchewan just 1. It's that giveaway-takeaway ratio that makes a difference.
Hamilton Tiger Cats should be thankful right now that it's only a 12-point lead, because the Saskatchewan Roughriders have left 15 possible points within the 5-yard line.
Yeah, they sure have. You look at 4 trips inside the Hamilton 5-yard line. 2 field goals and a touchdown is all they have to show, with Darian Durant having thrown that interception to Jamal Johnson in the end zone earlier.
I'm sure that's something, win or loss, that they'll be talking about this week in Regina. And Bruce again. A shoot top catch by Arlen Bruce. He's been a one-man wrecking crew for the Hamilton receiving corps today.
Well, he sure has. Nicely run route, and even nicer catch from Arlen Bruce going down to scoop that one off the turf.
Again, we talked about his success before this ball game when he plays against Saskatchewan. Now 9 touchdowns in a dozen games. He has caught up some huge numbers today.
11 for 190 thus far.
Tiger Cats know they have to find the end zone soon. Go right down the sideline, Marcus Thigpen, and there is no penalty flag there. Wanted an illegal contact call, but will not get it. Looked like both receiver and defender are jockeying for the ball.
Kevin Glenn may have been throwing this one into a little bit of traffic in hopes of catching the defender, Tad Cornegay, with his back turned and drawing a flag. Cornegay, incidental contact there as he manages to get himself turned around to face the ball.
Tad Cornegay, who spent 2 seasons in Hamilton, the last 4 in Saskatchewan. Big second down play. Glenn has time, and in traffic, and making the catch and taking off for the end zone. Maurice Mann won't get there. But Maurice Mann with a big play here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as Kevin Glenn threaded the needle.
Maurice Mann lines up as the outside receiver on this play, uses motion to hit the line running. The 2 Rider defenders collide, but nobody touches Maurice Mann. Good awareness to get up, keep running. From a Saskatchewan perspective, great effort by number 45, middle linebacker Mike McCullough, to run down the receiver Maurice Mann.
And they are challenging that last reception. Ken Miller throwing a challenge flag here. Possibly feeling that Maurice Mann was down earlier and did pick up about another 15 to 20 yards after the catch.
Well, we'll take a look at it and determine whether Mann was touched before or after he caught the football.
He has to be touched on the ground.
Correct. I really don't think from the time Maurice Mann went down that anybody was even close to him to touch him.
And both defenders collided with each other.
And if the defender touched him before he fell and after he caught the football, Ken Miller may have a case.
But he's clearly up here. He's not
There's
down.
the catch.
But he has to be down on the ground.
Saskatchewan has challenged the ruling on the field that the player
Okay, they're touching him there, but
so the argument here from
that he's
Saskatchewan
falling.
is that contact from the inside defender causes Maurice Mann to fall and that he should be down. That's considered a tackle.
Maurice Mann looked like he was falling backwards anyway on the play.
I don't think that'll matter in the ruling. I can see this one coming back.
So Maurice Mann took the ball down to inside the 5-yard line, about the 3.5. Kim Murphy will listen to CFL Control, the command center, where they are watching, looking, dissecting it on a variety of monitors, and will make the final determination.
And this is going to be a close call because it's going to be a matter of determining whether the contact made after the catch caused him to go down or not.
And here comes the decision from Kim Murphy.
After review, Saskatchewan challenge has been upheld. The player is down with contact at the 25-yard line.
Good challenge by Ken Miller. And good on the guys up in the box to catch that on that first replay.
Yeah, it sure was, because the call couldn't have been much closer, but just that incidental contact. As you mentioned, Rod, Maurice Mann was going to go down whether he was touched or not. And the contact didn't cause him to go down, but because he was contacted once he had the ball and then went down, it's treated as a tackle, as if he had been pushed down.
So instead of close to the goal line, the Cats have first down at the 25-yard line. On the roll, and hanging on, Dave Stala.
Stala comes up limping a little bit after that catch.
So it will be second down and 1 yard to go.
The Tiger Cats go to the Quinton Porter package in these short yardage situations in the field.
Former star at Boston College, Quinton Porter, who was the starting quarterback to begin last season for Hamilton. Now the backup to Kevin Glenn. In the backfield, but Porter goes forward, has to get near the 14-yard line. There was a penalty flag that flew at the 12 and actually on both sides of the field.
As we see so often in those short yardage situations, an offside against the defense.
Offside, Saskatchewan, defensive line. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So getting closer to where Maurice Mann had advanced the football earlier. Hamilton Tiger Cats still with loads of time left in this ball game here in the fourth quarter. 12 minutes to go. they've relinquished here in the second half. Down 12. Glenn, and almost picked off again. Dave Stala slipped and fell. Dangerous pass on the corner. Might have been snuffed out again.
So this one ends up outside, as you mentioned. Dave Stala, who's the outside receiver in this formation on the numbers. Sneaking down to the inside, and as he tries to plant and pivot back out, his feet just kept going.
Donovan Alexander out there on the island. Second down. To the goal line, and a great defensive play by Donovan Alexander. Once again on Mr. Second Down, Dave Stala, who scored earlier, unable to come up with it. And the best that the Cats will come away with is 3 points.
Well, missed opportunity for the Hamilton Tiger Cats here. Thought Kevin Glenn might have had a chance to dump the ball underneath to the running back, DeAndre Cobb. Had a check release, meaning he checked for blitzing linebacker first. That didn't come. He got out underneath, and it didn't look like anyone covered him.
Sandro DeAngelis, the most accurate kicker in CFL history, has really struggled out of the gate with the Cats this season. This is just a tiny field goal for him. He puts it through. And the score now 26-17.
The Ticats trying to fight their way back into this one in the fourth quarter. Don't forget, Stampeders, Bombers, and Kenyon Rambo makes his 2010 debut. That is game 2. That is next.
Thank you, Dave. The Stampeders, who manhandled the Roughriders a week ago, gave them their first loss. Darian Durant goes vertical for Rodriguez. And right beside him was his former teammate and former roommate, Jeff Tisdale.
That's a great defensive play by Jeff Tisdale. Ran stride for stride with Rodriguez, got his head around, got the arm out at just the right time. And maybe all the time these two spent together over the last couple of years in Hamilton, he knows all Prichet's moves.
Second down again. Out of the pocket goes Durant, goes forward with it, and brought back and held short of a first down. Another catch today for Andy Fantuz.
Another big second down stop for the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense.
Fantuz, 7 catches, 85 yards today. Again, the Roughriders relying on the foot of Luka Conji. 6 field goals in the game. Just 1 major score for the Roughriders. Touchdown by Wes Cates after an Andy Fantuz reception. Eddie Johnson floats one down for Marcus Thigpen. Dodges one, another, still dancing, and there's a penalty flag on the far side of the field. We'll tell you about it when we come back to Mosaic Stadium on TSN. There's the coach, Ken Miller, on the sideline where he normally is at Mosaic Stadium. But earlier this week, he was in the crowd among 35,000 who took in the Kid Rock and Bon Jovi concert here. And during the concert, Bon Jovi actually sang out his new hit called This Is Our House and told the Rough Rider fans that they can use that as an anthem here. Well, they did earlier today. They went a little crazy. Ken Miller, not an admitted Bon Jovi fan, says he respected the process after, enjoyed being at a concert. The deepest start of the game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. There was a holding call on the return.
Well, Ken Miller, as you said, he suggested there were 35,000 Bon Jovi fans at the concert, plus him. 35,000 people who knew the words, and Ken Miller who respected the process.
You like Bon Jovi?
I like a little Bon Jovi.
Wanted Dead or Alive. Rocked Saskatchewan earlier this week. Another first down here. Arland Bruce show continues. Moving the football out of the hole. 9 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter.
Well, a huge wake-up kind of day for Arland Bruce. 12 catches, 202 yards. He came into this game with 211 yards on the season. So he has nearly doubled that output.
And 16 catches on the season. Almost as many catches today as he's had in the first 4 games. First down, cutting back the other side, and finding nowhere to roam. DeAndre Cobb, Cornegay is there along with Sean Lucas.
A nice double team effort there by the two Saskatchewan outside linebackers. Cornegay, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, traded to the Roughriders a few years ago in exchange for the long since forgotten Byron Anderson and Jason French.
Wide receiver set, Glenn behind cover, over the middle again, and Arland Bruce with a rare drop. Would have been a tough catch, would have been a first down, but now the Cats will have to kick.
Arland Bruce starts off as the middle receiver in the trips formation to the wide side of the field. Cats also release DeAndre Cobb to that side. Working against man coverage. Bruce, with his success today, finds himself with a bit of a cushion, but Kevin Glenn was hurried into a short throw.
Justin Pillardi with the win. Dominic Dorsey. No yards on the return. 7.5 minutes to go. 26-17. The hometown Riders lead. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan. Shift the way you move, and Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right. Well, the wind has changed here. And what a break for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as they now have the breeze here in the fourth quarter. It had been going from left to right on your screen for the entire game, and now it is with the Riders. Talk about the ultimate home field advantage.
Yeah, the wind that stays with you for 3 of 4 quarters. Only in Rider Nation.
Well, Darian Durant. Second and 8. Trying to keep this ball moving here and eat up some of the clock. The 9-point lead rolling. Sideline. And the catch made by Andy Fantuz again. Darian Durant possesses an uncanny ability to find receivers. A very strong arm on the roll.
Well, this is the kind of play that just demoralizes defenses when you think you've got the guy in all sorts of trouble, and he makes a throw like this. Perfectly placed to Andy Fantuz.
And is there a challenge flag? Looks like he's in there.
Save the flag, guys.
And he is going to Marcel Belfay, who spent some time here in Saskatchewan as an assistant, throwing the challenge flag. And really the difference in this ball game right now may come down to a successful challenge by Ken Miller earlier.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
And what Marcel Belfoy is arguing here isn't whether or not Fantuz's feet were in bounds, but whether he really had control of the ball. He's arguing that the Saskatchewan receiver was bobbling the football as he went out of bounds.
Now right there. Sort of that second clutch. Here's the best look at it. Has it here. But
kind of
then
does a double clutch as he goes out of bounds. I think this one's going to stand, though.
Certainly look from that angle as if he had the football. 6:36 to go, fourth quarter. And how big is that challenge by Ken Miller earlier looming on the Maurice Mann reception that took the ball down near the goal line? Cats were only able to get a field goal. And the final answer.
After review, the ruling on the field stands a completed catch.
Andy Fantu's century game for him, 100 yards now on 8 catches. He's been the go-to guy for Darian Durant today. Finally brings him down, not after he picked up 14 yards and another first down.
It's been such a great bounce back year for Wes Cates after his injury-riddled 2009 season. I think a lot of people really felt that it might be a sign of decline for Wes Cates, but he's come back healthy here in 2010 and looks like the Wes Cates of old.
Durant pressurized, lets it go out of bounds. You know, a big difference as well in this game, and really the numbers on both sides offensively very similar, but the real difference in this game, it may have been field position.
Yeah, the average starting position for Saskatchewan has been near midfield, starting at their own 53-yard line. Hamilton Tiger Cats, by contrast, starting at their own 32. We talk about the importance of the kicking game and how important field position is here in the CFL.
Bringing that play clock down to 2 seconds, using up the clock. Durant stands in, open man, and caught. And his running back down near the 8-yard line. Wes Cates doing it all.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats have had a lot of trouble finding Wes Cates in their pass coverages. About 3 times we've seen Cates free release off the edge. 3 times he's been wide open.
This could be near seal time for the Roughriders, under 5 minutes. Wes Cates, 12 touches, 51 yards rushing, 72 yards receiving. Durant looks for Dressler, now in trouble. And again thrown out of bounds. One of the few times today that the Tiger Cats have been able to put a hand on number 4.
Unfortunately for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, able to put a hand on him, but unable to bring him down. Durant avoids yet another sack.
Second and goal. Durant will throw to the end zone for Robin. And coverage there by Jerome Dennis, who's not going to like this call. An interference call was Jerome Dennis shielding Rob Bagg, and that is the call.
Rob Bagg got in behind Jerome Dennis.
Pass interference, screening, Hamilton number 27. The infraction placed in goal, first down on 1.
You heard the call from Kim Murphy, screening. What that means is that he's blocking the receiver from the ball without looking back to locate the ball himself. So he didn't actually interfere with the receiver physically. But because Jerome Dennis never turned to locate the football and just puts his hands up because he sees the receiver going for the ball, he draws that flag.
Right by veteran back judge Don Ellis, who made the call, and a good one. Now first and goal from the 1, and no signal yet. And there it is, touchdown. Wes Cates has number 2 on the day. And that may have just sealed it.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders have had their green zone issues all day, particularly inside the 5-yard line. Wes Cates is to make sure on this one, see that ball break the front plane of the goal line.
They went to challenge. They threw the challenge flag down. Marcel Belfay's people up in the booth quickly saw that replay we just saw, and he quickly, sheepishly went and picked that and put it back in his pocket.
Well, not wanting to waste his second challenge.
Clearly from that vantage point, a touchdown. A lot of times the coaches get the word from upstairs.
Ruling on the field of a touchdown.
Well, that's the second challenge flag for Marcel Belfay. They're allowed 2 challenges a game. Keep in mind, for the rest of the game after the 3-minute mark, challenges come from CFL command. But very good chance this is going to be upheld, and Wes Cates will have his 5th touchdown of the season and 2nd of the afternoon.
If there's any argument about whether there was a fumble or not, again, from that angle, you can clearly see that the ball was on the ground and Wes Cates was down before the ball was loose.
Roughriders, who trailed for most of the first half.
Ruling on the field stands. It is a touchdown. Hamilton requires a second half timeout.
Losing a timeout. The Riders trailed most of the first half, trailed into the locker room, but have owned the second half. Turnovers costly for the Tiger Cats. Challenge call that was upheld earlier. Good challenge by the Riders. Big difference in the ball game.
It was a momentum changer after the big play to Maurice Mann.
Luca Conji piling up the points today. Fantu's flakes make a good sign for a ball game as well. Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Dodgers and the Giants. That's tomorrow night, actually. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time. I hope they ate those Fantu's flakes before they used the box.
It's a lot of flakes.
A lot of catches by Fantu's today. A lot of yards. Full house here. And the Riders look poised to go to 4-1, and the Tiger Cats, you would have to think one of the surprises of the young season, the fact they're off to a very slow start at 1-4, barring some miracle comeback here. Launches one for another point.
And a point that just made it a 3-possession ball game.
So to our game story here, brought to you by Mr. Luke. Luca Conji, 2 away from a team record and CFL record set by Dave Ridgway. 8 field goals in a game. Arland Bruce, very good, but the Roughriders much better in the second half here.
On the number that stands out is those 2 interceptions and Kevin Glenn's stat line. The fact that neither of those 2 interceptions are Kevin Glenn's fault. Balls that easily could have been caught, and we'd be looking at a different football game here, partner.
Getting close to the 3-minute warning. Dave Stall's pushed back by Sean Lucas. Four yards from a first down. Likely the last play before the 3-minute warning.
There you see Gary Echeverry, Saskatchewan D coordinator.
Well, they've actually changed it. It is going to be the 3-minute warning right here. 3 minutes away for the Riders from going to 4-1. Three minutes left in the fourth quarter here at Mosaic Stadium in Regina. Hamilton Tiger Cats down 3 possessions. Arland Bruce squirms for the first down.
What's up, everybody? I don't know if y'all heard me.
Other sideline, a smiling Darian Durant.
We talked earlier about the Bon Jovi concert this week. Darian Durant, we asked him if he went to the Bon Jovi concert. He did not.
No, he strategically held a quarterbacks and receivers meeting at his house.
He didn't want his receivers going to the Bon Jovi concert, maybe having a few beverages. And
yeah, always the leader, keeping the boys focused. Said he even fed them to make sure that everybody would show up.
2:42 to go.
Well, when you look for positives from a Hamilton Tiger Cat perspective, you've got to take some solace in the breakout performance of Arland Bruce here today.
Dave Stalla down to the 30. Cats will have to find the end zone here in a hurry.
Oh, especially considering that they burned that timeout with the second failed challenge.
You know, the score being what it is could be a lot worse still. Consider that the Roughriders had so many tries and close to settle for field goals. Looked like there was movement on the line. Despite all that, the Cats were in this ball game heading into the fourth quarter. Well, here is our Purolator sack attack. Just 1 sack in the game today. Brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check. BC leading the way, and the Toronto Argonauts at the bottom. Don't forget Calgary and Winnipeg coming up right after this ball game.
Hamilton number 65, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Second half of our doubleheader. Bruce again. Bruce to the goal line. What a touchdown. You talk highlight reel, there's one for it. But for the Cats, they're still a couple miracles away here.
I don't think the Great Wall of China was going to stop Arland Bruce from getting into the end zone on this one. Watch the acceleration after he catches the football. And from there, he's just not going to be denied no matter who gets their hands on him. No less than 4 potential tacklers. He just ran through them.
Unstoppable. Arland Bruce, second touchdown of the day. Spectacular day receiving, 15 catches, 257 yards. Well, it's a 10-point game.
That's like KG.
2:12 to go. And this being the Canadian Football League, as we remind our viewers who are watching on the NFL Network, anything is possible.
2 minutes can be an eternity in the CFL.
Career day for Arland Bruce. .257 yards. The 15 catches, one shy of a CFL record for catches in a game. Well, now the Cats with 2:12 to go.
Saskatchewan sends their hands team out on the field in anticipation of the short kick.
Again, a two-possession game. 10-point Roughrider advantage. Here comes the short kick now from Sandro DeAngelis. As his hands team lined up. Swims one. Chris Zarka gobbles it up. Rather than that line drive floater onside kick, Ticats elect to squib one.
But when you go for this dribble kick, you always hope for a couple of low bounces, and then usually that third one is the high bounce. Chris Zarka anticipated it well and reacted perfectly. The value of having veterans on your football team.
The clock and hang on to the football. Wes Cates carries the mail again for another first down. Eating up some valuable ticks.
It's one of those situations where everybody knows they're going to run the football, yet they still do it effectively. Wes Cates was sort of a master of this a couple of years ago, 2008. One of those guys you could count on when you needed to put the game away.
Smothered. Kahari Long in on the tackle. But Darian Durant has done a very effective job today of avoiding pressure.
Well, he sure has. As much as any quarterback in the Canadian Football League, Darian Durant is capable of using his legs as a weapon, both in terms of picking up positive yardage, but also just in avoiding sacks a number of times. He's not only made those great runs, but also just managing to keep himself from going down and avoiding sacks, keeping drives alive.
Darian Durant, has his helmet knocked off, and a penalty here on a head hit. Darian Durant electing to throw the football. 1:14 to go, but whistle blew right away as Tiger Cats.
Roughing the passer. Hamilton, number 90. After distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Almost took his head off. DeMonte Bolden says, my bad.
Yeah, any kind of tackle around the head on the quarterback is going to be called. DeMonte Bolden comes up the middle. Goes high on Durant.
Boy, that's dangerous. You can hear the oohs and ahs from the crowd here. Seeing it on the big screen.
And Darian Durant was fortunate that he was able to get down before any more defenders converge.
A minute away. 10-point lead. Cates thrown to the ground by Otis Floyd. Demonte Bolden in the middle of it. I would imagine he might have been a marked man on that play a little.
Little doubt as the Roughriders protect their most valued asset.
Riders had such a sensational start to this season, coming from behind to beat Montreal in a shootout in overtime. Wes Cates brought down. So Luka Konji will come out to kick his 7th field goal of the day. The Riders rolled off 3 wins, lost last week to Calgary. Stampeders will host the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, coming off a big win last week against the Edmonton Eskimos. That game coming up next from McMahon Stadium. How hot do you think those guys are in there? Well, the Riders have been riding the hot foot of Luka Konji today, and really from the beginning of the second half onward have dominated this game. Cats try to stay close.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
Ken Miller and his Roughriders will have that rematch with Montreal. The Alouettes lost that first game. That'll be a good one next Friday night. Wendy's Friday Night Football in Montreal. Don't think the Alouettes will be frothing from the mouth. So they go to 4-1 this week as well. Luka Konji, 7 field goals. Perfect day. One shy of a CFL record and a Rough Rider record from the great Dave Ridgway.
And speaking of one shy of a CFL record, Arlen Bruce may get one last shot at that single game receiving record. 15 catches thus far. CFL record 16.
Record held by a number of players. 23 seconds to go. Kevin Glenn out of the pocket, nowhere to go. Yeah, who would have thought you have an extraordinary day like you have catching the football and dominating in the air with a receiver and still are unable to get the W.
Yeah, when your offensive game plan is successful to the point that you're able to free up your best player for big plays that often, you should be winning.
"17 seconds to go. Will Arlen Bruce get another catch? Yes, he will. That ties the record. And with one more would break the record.
He joins some pretty spectacular company holding that record. The great Terry Greer, former Toronto Argonaut, Ryan Wiggins, the Calgary Stampeders, and former Toronto Argonaut Daryl Mookie Mitchell. All co-holders now with Arlen Bruce of that record.
Doesn't go Bruce's way, and this will be the ball game. Arlen Bruce ties a CFL record, but it won't mean much because the Hamilton Tiger Cats fall to 1-4. The Saskatchewan Roughriders 4-1, a bounce-back week, 37-24.